Ukrainian war shows that the spread of disinformation can be understood as a manufacturing process with many actors involved, including social media platforms that offer the infrastructure for communicating. Studies show that they even serve as the most important information source for young people today, such as our participants. And this is why it's important to tackle the mechanisms and dynamics behind disinformation. Our participants learn more about fact-checking initiatives, deepfake techniques, and journalistic core values such as independence, just to name a few. And we also give a sidekick on the topic of mental health, since all the changes that we are experiencing right now in our societies affect our well-being.
I'm Karin Wenger from Switzerland. I'm part of the association Young Journalists Switzerland, and we did a campaign about mental health in journalism. One takeaway we have is that the pressure on young journalists is increasing with disinformation because newsrooms often lack the culture of dealing with mistakes. So young journalists are anxious to do mistakes because then editors will yell at them, and the culture is we don't make mistakes. But obviously we are humans, so newsrooms should really have a policy on how to deal with mistakes in a constructive way.
So what we discussed today is the topic of deepfakes and other synthetic media. And it was important for me not only to show examples and discuss these topics, but actually show how they are being generated and how easy it is to generate them, and even generated some by ourselves. And this knowledge is very important to see how far the technology already is and how far it is already spread. Important for young journalists is obviously to know that everything can be faked. And probably the first thing you have to ask yourselves, is it too good to be true? And if it's too good to be true, then it probably isn't.
We had a discussion about impartiality in journalism and also independence, which is an important topic, especially for the young journalists that I had the discussion with here today, because we need to make clear to our audiences that they can trust us and what the benefit is of having independent information to make up their minds, whom they should vote for, or make important life decisions. And I think the discussion we have between younger journalists and people like myself who've been in the business for quite some time is extremely fruitful when it comes to that. It's an important discussion, and I hope that it helps ensure that the next generation of journalists can still be successful and do their job in the right way.
In my exchange with the young European journalists, it was important for me to alert them for the topic of disinformation, because since the beginning of the Russian war against Ukraine, we've seen a sharp rise in disinformation and propaganda from Russia, trying to influence our societies, trying to undermine the confidence in democratic governments and democratic institutions, and trying to undermine the support for Ukraine that Europe is providing. And I told the young journalists how important their role was in the fight against disinformation. Obviously, we as a government do a lot to monitor and to counter disinformation, to debunk, as we say, the false information. But we cannot do this alone. We need the support of NGOs. We need the support of science, of research, and we do need independent journalism for fact-checking and for making people aware about the dangers of disinformation. And I found in the very lively and very interesting discussion with the young European journalists that they actually work on this topic, that they see the dangers, and that they had thought a lot about this topic themselves already.
I think this is very important that this workshop is taking place right now to be more aware how to fight back the informational attacks and fake news attacks.
I think one of the most important aspects of this workshop for me has been the networking. It is one of the first time that I've been in such a diverse team of mostly European journalists.
It's great to get to know how our colleagues from different European countries work with fake news and disinformation, and I would say that the tools and mechanisms are really inspiring and effective.
And it's been just such a pleasure to be in such a group of international journalists and media people, and yeah, it's been really a great experience.